Hey, what's up? It's David here. So as far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be able to scream. But for the longest time, I never got far in learning exactly how. However, one day recently, while attending a local show and observing the vocalist, I realized something. I realized that I'm never going to be able to learn how to scream if I simply sit around on my ass dreaming about it. So I asked myself, what if I started from scratch and practiced screaming every single day, rain or shine, for 30 days straight? Would I be able to unlock my screaming voice within that time? So on November 10th, 2018, I began my 30-day screaming challenge. This was the first day I tried to scream. Aside from sounding constipated, my throat would feel super irritated and I ended up coughing like crazy. This was the day that I visited my girlfriend's parents and I had to sneak off to the beach to practice. This was the next night when I was in a hotel nervously practicing because her parents were in a room right next to ours. This was the day that I was practicing while taking a shit. This was the day that I started to do a lot of research on YouTube. Although there were no shortage of YouTubers who could scream, the quality of information out there was complete crap. It was either underexplained, conflicting with other YouTube videos, or all fluff and no information. This was the day that I watched a tutorial that instructed me to scream in a way that made me feel like I swallowed glass. I felt pain for 2 days afterwards. This was the day that I almost completely gave up. This was day 30, the end of the challenge. That night, I recorded myself screaming over music for the first time. But when I listened back to my recording, I realized that I sounded like complete and utter shit. Bow, down, strings. No matter how I tried to push or pull or strain my throat, I sounded dull, dry, asthmatic, froggy, and just plain stupid. I thought, after all this work, after all those painful hours of practice, this was the best my voice could sound. And it wasn't just because I failed some arbitrary challenge. I wanted more than anything to be able to express myself artistically through my voice. But my inability to scream felt like I was being told by the universe that I wasn't allowed to, that I wasn't good enough. So to take my mind off of all of this, I stopped listening to music and I started getting really interested in reading books about success and entrepreneurship. Author Dan Lok writes that the people who are most successful in life aren't the ones who just work themselves into the ground.
If it's not working, you got to know how to think. The key word is not hustle, it's leverage.
I had all the hustle in the world, practicing for at least 2 hours a day. But I was trying the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. Could this be the missing ingredient? Could leverage be the key? I realized that I had nothing else to lose by giving it one more shot, so I went for it. And that's when I began to adjust my approach. I began to leverage my social circle and ask experts who are touring vocalists to help me out.
Is it okay if you evaluate my shitty ass fry scream?
Absolutely. I would leverage money and hired multiple vocal coaches to help me with warm-ups and exercises. I leveraged the internet and learned about the anatomy of vocals as well as studied laryngoscopy footage that I could find. And that's when I started making progress. This was the day that I started eliminating sounds that were completely wrong. This was the day that I learned that I was able to strengthen my screaming muscles in order to add volume. Things started clicking and making sense. I began to start making less of the wrong sounds and more of the right sounds. My voice started hurting less and less. And then suddenly, on February 26th at 8:05 p.m., it had finally happened. I had unlocked my screaming voice. Falling on the love, I swear that it's in the air, leaving me floating forever until we fade inside. I was now able to scream along to any song I wanted to in the car. I could now join a metal or a hardcore band and play live shows. I could now record myself doing vocal covers of my favorite songs and upload it for the world to see. But most importantly, I now gained the confidence to musically express myself using my voice.
Surprise! Can me
Now, during this process of learning how to scream, I learned a very important life lesson. Hard work is 10 times better than being lazy, but working smart is 100 times better than that. Always think to yourself, how can I leverage my resources and do the things that take little effort that will give me the biggest reward? I failed the 30-day challenge. Instead of doing it in 30 days, I ended up doing it in 3 months and 17 days. However, when comparing that to the fact that many touring vocalists take anywhere from 1 to 5 years, I think that this is still a pretty successful experiment. And this brings me to a very special announcement. So there's a lot of misinformation on the internet, and I don't want anyone to be led down the wrong path and potentially hurt themselves like I did. That's why I made a completely free 4-part screaming crash course that features over an hour's worth of premium lessons. This will show you how to avoid pain as well as show you the anatomy of how screams work to make sure that you have a solid foundation. Sign up by clicking the link in the description. Since this is the first version of the course, I'm going to close enrollment by this date so I can continue to make it even better. If I had the information that I'm going to teach you, I would have unlocked my scream 10 times faster. And in fact, I taught my friend Nick Nocturnal, who is a complete beginner, and he was able to unlock his first scream within 26 days.
Myself, my world, my people, I owe my everything.
So leverage the knowledge that I'm giving you and let's see how quickly you can unlock your screaming voice. Click the link below and sign up. I'll see you inside.